It just went crazy. I had about 7 other girls reach out to me, all of them with evidence. Amir Khan messages these women. He then sends them his She specifically said, and it's been put on social media, you know I'm not going to send you pictures like that. I don't feel comfortable. He goes, you don't, but you should. If you send me your nudes, you'll have me forever. When girls send you nudes, then blackmail you for 20k, why would I want a rat like you when I've got a wife like mine? I didn't get involved to get smear a couple of grand. It needs to be a public apology, nothing more, nothing less.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the BlueTick show. If you've heard about the whole Amir Khan situation that's going on, I've got the woman who's been the centre of the storm. Farhaan Hussain, welcome to the show, and how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So, listen, I think many people on here have clicked on here and the title's something related to about Amir Khan and this whole situation that's going on. You know a lot more about it than most of us.
Sadly, yeah.
I can imagine, sadly. And before we dive into that, I know all the viewers are here, so just bear with us. Who are you? Talk to us. Who even are you? Explain to the viewers who you are. And you're a professional in this world. You're not just a woman who's jumped on board.
No, and I wouldn't have taken it if I was just... I'm a mum of 2. I'm married. I've got 2 children, 2 girls. I studied law at university. Due to health reasons, I wasn't able to finish my LPC, but I still wanted to do law. So I thought, let me see what I can do with it. I then did some legal work in some firms. I helped out at the police station, just women that weren't able to speak English, not as a translator, but they had no sense of, legalities, what's going on. They used to end up in the police station. And then I used to find myself with them trying to navigate the cases. And I was like, okay, it's quite rewarding. I'm generally helping them and they don't have the money to, and they don't even understand what's going on. They've just been beaten up by their husband and they're sitting in the police station saying, now what? So I did that for a couple of years when I was married, and then I kind of got put off a little bit. It just became really demanding. It was lockdown and I got bored and I opened a skincare company. In the first year, I did like £40,000 profit, and I was like, nice. Okay, maybe it's not law, maybe it's skincare I need to go into. So did the whole skincare thing. We then got stocked at John Lewis. Since then, I've been white labeling in Dubai. So it's all been skincare. However, throughout that, what I did is, obviously, as you know, we have to give zakat from whatever 100%. Money we make. So I thought, let me see if I can, instead of just giving it out, let me see if I can open something which would then help, but it's at the same time doing what I'm meant to be doing. So I opened a small charity called Our Voice, where I just helped women with, again, legal issues, navigated the legal system for them.
And do you do that because you have a passion for it? Yeah,
I really genuinely, I'm not going to sit here and say I had the worst time in my marriage, but I struggled. I came from a very modern family. Yes, we were traditional in the sense because we're Muslim, but very modern. I grew up in a single family home. My dad left when I was 14. I had 3 younger brothers and sisters. Yes, my uncles were crazy, but they were like, okay, if you just stay in line, then it will be okay with us. And I always stayed in line, but I was very looked after. My uncle's job was to provide for us. My mum was like, okay, do what you need to, get to uni, and you're like, oh, I need a bit of freedom. So my mum was like, as long as I know what you're doing,
then it's fine.
Then when I had my daughters, I don't know, it was something clicked, and I thought, I don't want this life for my daughters. I don't. I want them to grow up and I want them to know, okay, mum's someone. Mum's not just in the kitchen, because I'm educated and I had a business at that point. I was like, I need to push it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to leave this and I'm going to see if I can make a difference in other people's life who have gone through much worse than I have. I met women from all corners of the country. Some women were brought over on a spouse visa, but they ended up being a slave at home, literally. Wow. They would marry them, bring them over, and then say, okay, well, we're not together anymore because I'm married here. You're here to look after my mum and you're here to clean the house.
Wow.
And then they escape. And then it's like, now what do we do? They're pregnant with 2 kids. They're not even registered at GP. They have no trace in the UK. So then I found myself in that. And because it was charity-based, any money, I would take 7% from my skincare company and put it back into Our Voice. So any kind of, court application fees, all my travel was all technically covered from the money that was coming in, and people used to donate as well. But it got to the point where it was literally taking over my life. I was doing it 7 days a week. I had 2 under 5s.
Yeah, it's hard. I can imagine that's impossible.
So I thought maybe skincare's now white labeling, so I don't have to do much. It's just running in the warehouse. It just gets sent off. Let me see if I can maybe make law a full time. And I did. I turned it into a legal advice agency. Now people come to me, and those that can't afford mainstream legal services, which is what, £300 an hour, they come to me. I charge them a one-off fee, and I do the exact same work for them, probably much better because you've got my one-on-one attention, and that's what I focused on with skincare running. So yeah, that's what I do.
So with regarding skincare, obviously I can tell that you love it, but the helping the women's side, that is more of a passion for you. That's what you love.
As I've grown up, I've seen my mum struggle because my dad left. She was left with 3 girls and a boy. She got us married single-handedly. Wow. Amazing marriages we had. You know, it wasn't something little. She wanted us to not feel like we're missing out because we don't have a dad. Although my uncles were there, she wanted to be like, I can do this for my daughters. She wants to be the main woman of the house. Yeah, even now, the way she is with my daughters, it's amazing. They're like, oh my God, it's Nano, and, you know, let's go ahead. She's so independent. And I think it was that drive. And then meeting all these women along the way, I was like, oh my God, you really just need someone that can just hold your hand and direct you in the right way. And I don't know, maybe I just self-elected myself.
You get a different kind of feeling when you actually help someone and you realise, I've done that. I've helped
with
you.
With no greed whatsoever.
In whatever it is, I've helped you. That is... listen, I don't do what you do for a living, but people always say when you actually help someone and give back and help, nothing beats that feeling.
Nothing. It's amazing.
There's no amount of money anyone can give you just to watch that person's face or to know you've helped them out of that domestic situation and you've helped them. That must be the best feeling in the world.
Amazing. And that's why I kind of made that my full time. I was like, I love what I get out of it.
And has that taken over now? Is that your full time thing?
I would say they both are really. Because now we're relaunching the skincare company.
Because I follow you on socials. Every post is either skin.
I get confused and I was like, okay, so what am I meant to post about? But then I want to post about me.
Yeah.
And I am a bit of everything.
Life.
Yeah, I'm a mum and, you know, I run a skincare company and I run a legal company. I mean, I'm going to have to post about it all somehow. I'm not a social media person at all. I literally was on there for the sake of being on there. Yeah. But obviously this is...
You've had a lot of headache since jumping on socials, I assume.
Yeah, and I didn't expect it. But I suppose I can't even sit here and say I didn't expect it. But not to the magnitude it has come, I think. Let's
dive into it. Now the viewers know who you are and you're a professional in what you do.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in this whole situation? Talk from start to end for viewers who don't understand this and just want to know the gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what happened.
I kept getting tagged on random posts on TikTok and Instagram about another Amir Khan scandal, and I was like, why are they tagging me in this? He's sleeping with someone else. It's got nothing to do with me. Yeah. So if I'm honest with you, for the first week I ignored. I was like, okay, I don't know why they want me to know, but loads of people were just tagging me. I then came across a post by Sums Beauty where she had made a post saying something about Amir Khan, some kind of conversation they both had went wrong. And I thought, okay, let me look into this. Via a friend, someone reached out and said, look, can you just help Sums Beauty? And I was like, okay, but what's happened? Surely they were both having a mutual conversation and it's just gone wrong. I mean, there's nothing law can do.
They're adults. It is what it is, kind of thing.
Just, you've done it. And she goes, no, it's different. He's lied about her. I was like, okay. So anyway, me and Samira got in contact. I met her and she said, this has happened. And I said, okay, before I put my name to anything, I need to see what you've got. I do. I need to see all the evidence. If you're telling me...
Because you can't take someone's word for it.
No, of course not. And I don't want to put my name into something like that. It's just not me. So she showed me everything. I saw from the first conversation to the very last conversation. And looking at it, I thought to myself, okay, you've genuinely been wronged.
You've got a case here.
Yeah. Fair enough, you've messaged a married man, which I think we'll touch on after what my thoughts are. But he's messaged you, you've replied, and... now it's gone sour, but the reason it's gone sour is because he's just trying to save his own arse. That's why it's gone sour. Looked into it all and I said, okay, let's take things slowly. Maybe we can just reach out to solicitors. That was my aim. Yeah. Let's just keep everything civil and keep it going. By the time I had got in contact with her, she had already made one video on TikTok. Yeah, it went viral. And then her solicitors, Faryaal, Maktoum and Amir Khan solicitors sent her a legal notice and said, we're taking you to court for defamation. She's like, what's this? And I said, okay, so am I taking over? Yeah. And I just want to make it clear, she's paid me no money for this, the amount of hours I've put in. I didn't expect it, but she hasn't paid me. She doesn't have the funds to pay me because I'm sure she would have got a mainstream solicitor if she did. I looked at the letter. It was like a 4-page essay. And I'm sorry, the average person wouldn't know what to do with it. You would be shit scared. You would think to yourself, oh my God, I've got...
prison. You wouldn't even know
I've got 2 influential people. I say influential, that's what they are, self-proclaimed influencers. They're taking a 25, 26-year-old student to court for defamation. She goes, but I've only said what I believe in and what the truth is. I go, maybe it's the manner in which you're putting it forward. So let's hold back. I then liaised with Amir Khan solicitors and I said, okay, I think this whole thing's been taken way out of proportion. There's no defamation here. And a lot of people, and I think a lot of people watching, don't actually know what defamation is. Defamation is when you make a false statement about someone and then that affects their future or affects their...
So just to touch on that from a legal term, because I want to always bring it back to law so that people understand what we're doing here is based on law at the end of the day. If I was to make a statement that was true, did, in their eyes, defame them and was wrong towards them, but was true, backed with evidence, is that defamation of character?
No.
That is completely legal.
Yes, because you haven't made a false statement.
So for me to publicly release a conversation I've had with that celebrity, of them talking inappropriately towards me and me speaking back inappropriately maybe, even if they're married or not, it's completely legal.
Of course it is.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
As long as a statement is true.
It's a screenshot of our chat.
Perfect.
That is completely by law legal.
Yes.
Okay, so there's... All right.
A lot of people would say it's a private conversation, but it's also your private conversation.
And if I want to share my private conversation, that's on me.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people were getting confused about that, the whole defamation thing. I was going back and forth on emails and I thought, this is not working. I said to Amir Khan solicitor, look, do you want to give me a call? Because I'm not going to go back and forth. So yeah, I then got a phone call. And that's the first thing he said. You sound like a very intelligent, articulate woman. Let's have a conversation. So I said, let's just cut to the chase.
Cut the bullshit, basically.
I've sent you an email. You've obviously seen the email. That email was very clear. The email was, there's no defamation here. Mm-hmm. Your client, i.e. Amir Khan, has gone to international newspaper and lied about a girl. I have the evidence which clearly shows he's lying. And I sent him an itinerary of the evidence I had, which we can go into. He said, no, look, I've spoken to the Khans. They do not want to take this matter to court. They want to settle it. And I said, well, what does settle mean? And he goes, what do you want? And I go, well, it's not what I want. It's what Samara wants. And what we need is a public apology. Yeah. He needs to apologise because what you're telling me on the phone right now is that you accept the fact that he lied. Mm-hmm. Because it's a lie. And he goes, look, why don't you put this in writing? I go, I'm not putting nothing in writing. It's for you to put in writing because you're the one proposing a settlement. So put whatever you want in writing, come back to me and we'll take it from there. Yeah. I don't hear from them. I literally just don't hear from them. And I say, okay, you've got 7 days. If you don't get back to me, then we progress it to court. Don't hear back from them. So we've done the paperwork for it to go to court now. That happens. I then say to her, maybe I need to come online and make a video because a lot of people are now sending me hate because I'm putting a couple of messages up on Instagram. They're like, oh my God, why are you know.
And how was you involved in the mixes? In how did people publicly start hearing about you? Did you release?
I just put it on my status. Okay. I didn't say I was representing her. I didn't say I was a lawyer. Nothing like that. I just said, you know, this is what I've seen. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. Yeah. Why is a woman always a hoe? When the man is messaging her, you know, he didn't think she was a hoe when he started messaging her. He clearly wanted something, right? Yeah. Hence he was messaging her and she messaged back. And that's what I said. And then a lot of people started saying, oh, you know, you're meant to be a female rights advocate, but right now what you're doing is you're backing hoes. And I said, that's just such a strong statement. I'm not backing a hoe. Mm-hmm. I'm backing the truth. And if he's lied about a woman's character, which has led for her to, you know, feel defamed or if it's affected her life, then I'm going to speak against it. But it was still very low key at that point. It was just the handful of hate I got. I then did a live. I thought, let me just go on live and just
talk to people,
say what I have. Yeah. And then the minute I went on live, I saw like 3,000 people come on live and I was like, okay, I don't think I can do this. Yeah. Oh God. So eventually I came off Instagram and I was like, okay, let me just come off the live. And my husband's like, you've just gone on live and now you're coming off. And I was like, I don't think I can do it. I go, there's like 3,000 people watching me. And I'm not a social media person. It's just not me. Yeah. Anyway, I went back on. And my business partner, she said, look, just close the comments off. That's the best thing. You could just close the comments off and just say what you need to say. I closed the comments off and I just went through everything. I said, okay, It's come to my attention. Smear has come to me. This is the evidence I've seen. This is the truth, and this is where it's wrong. And in that video, which is still on Instagram, in the last 10-15 minutes, I made a direct appeal to Amir Khan. I said, look, you know the evidence I have.
Yep.
Come to me, let's have a conversation, and let's close this matter off. For whatever reason, they didn't want to do that. It then, I think it just blew out of proportion. It just went crazy. I had about 7 other girls reach out to me, all of them with evidence of how if he sleeps with someone, that's fine. That's not a story because they're both consensual, right? He's stepping outside of his marriage, they're choosing to go in. But it's what the couple do after that.
This video is sponsored by Cranbrook Law, an award-winning immigration law firm. Their talented solicitors can help when any struggles arise regarding immigration law. They can help get you the visas they need. They can help get you the staff you need from any other countries. As you can see, the website is on the screen right now. So if you need anything to do with immigration law, message Cranbrook Law and let them help you. Whether you're looking to obtain a sponsor license, receive advice and guidance in relation to compliance and our civil penalties, or take advantage of our know-how and experience across a broad range of business visas, our talented and dynamic immigration lawyers are available to speak to you. Telephone numbers on the screen, emails on the screen, and hit the link in the bio if you need any help. Look, what I will say from a man's point of view, whatever Amir Khan wants to do, it's up to him. At the end of the day, it's up to him and between his wife. If him and his wife, she agrees with it behind closed doors, which I don't know if she does. I'm not his wife. That's their issue. The reason we're here today isn't because you care about who Amir Khan sleeps with.
No.
I just want to make that clear in the sense as I'm not doing a podcast here to sit and say Amir Khan slept with X, Y, and Z because we don't care who he sleeps with.
Of course not. It's
good
his
luck
problem.
to him.
Yeah.
Genuinely, good luck.
Yeah.
The problem and the reason we are here today is how he's acted after.
Yeah.
And calling the girl a hoe, disrespecting her, lying. That's the reason we're here.
Yeah, it's the aftermath of how the couple both act. And from what I've seen, all the evidence I have, Amir Khan messages these women. He then sends them his genitalia. I'm sorry. Okay. A gallery of them to numerous women. He doesn't even use his brain to think, okay, let me cover my face. But what he does do to try and be clever is he sends them on a WhatsApp once view. Yeah. But not all the time. But look, at the end of the day, it's up to the women. But if they're receiving Amir Khan's genitals on their WhatsApp, why wouldn't they take a picture of it from another phone? Whether that's right or wrong, it's up to them.
What we have to say is Amir Khan is famous.
Yeah, I mean, you've got him sending you his...
To some of these women here, some of these women got 500 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And to them, it's a superstar messaging them.
And then going further and saying, come and meet me, well, here's a picture of my whatever.
So to some of these girls, they're 100%, they're going to go and get their friends, oh my God, look, take a picture of that. And that's it. 100%. Straight away, it's getting saved.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people saying, well, XYZ knew what she was doing because she was taking pictures of it. Well, wouldn't you, if a famous person...
In her eyes, she's got a famous man texting her. And that is just how she's acting. And whether it's wrong for her to do that or not, that's up to her.
Exactly. It's her prerogative as it's his for having the conversation. So I looked at all these. Altogether, I had about 8 girls.
And what sort of evidence do you have? Of course, you've explained the pictures, but do you have evidence of conversations which... Because I just want to make it clear to the viewers, you do have evidence, right?
Well, of course, I wouldn't be here if I didn't. And I wouldn't have taken this on if I didn't. That's not me. I've got children. I'm in a professional background. I have my own business. I don't need to take something on for clout because I'm going to be very honest with you. I had businesses and money before a couple of thousand extra followers. Yeah. My businesses don't rely on followers on Instagram because I'm not an Instagram person. It doesn't make a difference to me. So the very first thing I looked at was, okay, do I have enough evidence or am I going to look like an idiot? Because if I'm going to look like an idiot, I'm going to be in the background.
And because it's such a large scale thing, we all know it's going to have media attraction.
Exactly, and I don't want negative media attention.
Of course,
because the whole thing is, I want my kids to grow up and think, okay, mum did something. Not mum was in the middle of a scandal that was about, XYZ sleeping with each other. That's not what I want. So all these women reached out to me, and I thought, oh wow, this is bigger than I thought it was. And I had a total of 8 women reach out to me. 6 of them women had been messaged by Amir Khan. So all of the 8 women, Amir Khan reaches out to them first. And as he has now self-proclaimed to the world that he has a sexting problem. I'm sure you've seen the article, right?
He has a sexting problem. Well, he's admitted that publicly.
Yeah, yes, everywhere. It's a Sun, Daily Mirror. You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. I don't really look into... I'm one of them people who don't watch the...
Okay, after this thing came out...
Well, he actually has admitted, I have a sexting
So this
problem.
whole thing came out, and I think his not so clever PR or not so clever manager, whoever it was, said, look, I think you should go out and say, I've got some issue. So he did a very lengthy article last month, and he said, I have a sexting problem. I get bored and I find myself in other people's DMs. I need to stop before it gets me in trouble with my wife. And I was like, this is just absolutely ridiculous.
Amir, between me and you, bro, I think whoever told you to make that article, sack him. He has a sexting problem. He
literally says, I have a sexting problem. I get bored and I find myself in other girls' DMs. I'm quoting, and I can't help myself when they reply.
So in my eyes, that's cheating.
Of course it's cheating.
So before I get myself in trouble with my wife, as a married man, DMing a girl hello, in my eyes, is still cheating. Even if you're just saying hello, you know what you're messaging her for.
Yeah, of course. You know the end game, right? You know.
To be a friend.
Well, of course not. But then again, so he came out with the whole sexting thing, and I was like, okay, now he knows there's an issue and he knows I'm getting caught. Let me try and salvage it. But he salvaged it wrong. Yeah. It didn't work. What I started doing, maybe it's the law in me or whatever, I started looking at the pattern of women he was messaging. And out of the 8, 4 of them had all displayed mental health online. And this is where it got serious for me. One of them has been in a toxic, abusive relationship. And she's made it known on social media. Again, it's up to her. It's her social media. That's Samara. Another girl has been in a toxic marriage. That's obvious. The other 2 girls, again, on social media. They're all vulnerable in some way. And then I started thinking, is he targeting vulnerable Muslim women because he knows they can't go out and speak about it if it goes wrong?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Could it not just simply be he finds that woman attractive? And nowadays, I think the percent of women who do have mental health is very, very high. This isn't me defending him at all, but I think to try and say that he's interested in women with mental health and stuff like that, maybe from a legal point, maybe you can look at it like that. I don't think interested in women with mental health. I think he cleverly chooses them because he kind of preempts. He can't be that clever if he's sending them nudes. So do you not think he's just scrolling through Insta and thinks, oh, she's a bit of me? Maybe then. But I'm trying to be devil's advocate. I'm trying to throw everything out there so that the viewers can, because the viewers might
make their own mind. Yes. But when I looked at the 8 women, bar a couple of them, they were all so different. I mean, sorry, one's a glamour model, white, no strings attached. Okay. Yeah. Another one's also white, clearly no strings attached. And the women that there was no strings attached to, he was having lengthy affairs with them. Yeah. I mean, it's come out again last month in the paper. Another woman said, I'm having a 5-month affair with Amir Khan, and his friends are picking and dropping me from hotels in Manchester. And then the other ones are Asian. So for me, I thought, is this a pattern? I'm not saying, okay, maybe it's not, but for me, it was a very clear pattern. I was like, okay, is he picking women specifically for what they display on social media so he can limit the amount of collateral damage afterwards? So I thought, let me look into the conversations. All the conversations are the same. He starts with, hey, you're right. Oh, you look really nice. Okay, would you come to Dubai? Would you meet me in Manchester? All like, the standard usual sleazy stuff. Some of them have replied and some of them have gone and met him and some of them have had sex with him, which again, it's consensual. It's up to them. Others, you can see he's gone on a bit of a chase, i.e. Samara. I'm in this shisha bar. There's a shisha bar in Wembley, which is notorious for Amir Khan's meetups because all 8 of them have been there. What is it called? Aura in Wembley. He sends them the location on WhatsApp and he goes, I'm here at 10, come but don't tell anyone. And it's like, okay. So they haven't gone, some of them. And to talk about Samira in particular, she didn't go. He then invited her again on a different date, and he said, I'm here, do you want to come? She goes, no. Then, oh yes, how things got sour. So
yeah, what I want to touch on just before we talk about the sourness is, from a man's point of view, it's clear to say he's a cheater. He cheats. But maybe they're in an open relationship. I don't know. I'm not in the relationship again. But now to touch on it from his point of view, him and his wife might have an understanding. This is what I do. I talk to other women. What is wrong with him talking to these 8 girls? What is wrong with it? If
his wife's happy with it, there's nothing wrong in it.
So that I want to make that clear to people. Like I said previously, if everyone's aware of that in his circle,
if it's a mutual understanding,
and they're doing it. So why are we now bringing it to public?
Because I think it's how it ends up being.
And so this is what we're going to discuss now, the sour part.
Yeah.
Okay.
If with Samira, I'll use her as an example because that's the most prominent example on social media right now. They were having a conversation. It got to, okay, what do you want to do in life? And X, Y, Z. And she goes, look, I'm a student. I want to help my family out, whatever. He then said, I'm doing some program. So I'm going to like it to the Prince's Trust. That's how he explained it. Okay. Where I want to help budding new entrepreneurs, not to mention the ones I send pictures of my nudes to. He then, in the lead up to her giving her that money, that date was looming, he started sending her a lot of nudes, a lot of them. And he then started saying, can you send me them? And she goes, but and this is in message. She specifically said, and it's been put on social media, I'm not going to send you pictures like that. I don't feel comfortable. He goes, you don't, but you should. If you send me your nudes, you'll have me forever. And I've quoted that. Literally, that's what he has said.
Are these messages public
Yes,
information?
I've got them.
See them?
Yeah.
And where can we find them?
They were on my social media and hers.
Are they still
on stories? I don't know, but I'm happy to.
If we can put them on the screen, of course.
Definitely.
Helps the viewers get an understanding.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's exactly what he said. You don't, but you should. And if you do send them to me, then you've got me forever. She goes, well, what do you mean? If I send you naughty pictures, I'll have you forever. What's that supposed to mean? So that was the whole kind of scenario on nudes. He then started... It's like he turned sour after he knew she wasn't actually going to send him any news. He started saying, oh, you're acting up. They had a lot of phone calls. I think I've got about 4 hours worth of phone calls.
Oh, so
but not recorded, but timestamps.
Yeah,
so they've been speaking a lot. And he goes, oh, you're getting really awkward. When I come down, you don't even agree to meet me. And in the messages then they relay afterwards, she's like, I just find you're being really annoying. You said you wanted to be a friend, and he goes, you don't even respond to the pictures I send you. Because there's no response. I mean,
she just ignores them.
Yeah, she just doesn't. She just
opens it.
Yeah, she opens it, and then you can see on the messages, it just goes to another conversation. Now, whatever her, intentions were to continue the conversation, that's up to her. After that, she then says, "Look, you're dodgy. I'm going to tell your wife." And then he goes, he messaged her, and he goes, "Go on then. You're just a broke chav with no money. People like you will get nowhere in effing life." Turned, literally. And the day before, he was sending her full-on view pictures of himself. The next day, she messages Faryaal Maktoum on social media. Faryaal Maktoum's made it very clear, she messaged me, but she refused to listen to me, whatever. I've got the whole chat history for that also. She messages Faryaal Maktoum, and she's like, your husband messaged me. I replied, I've got all the snapshots, I want you to see them, but he's not what I thought he was. He's now saying X, Y, Z to me. Not what you're gonna do about it, but look, this is it. She basically messaged her saying, she messaged Samira back and goes, if I was you, I wouldn't go to the media because it would make you look stupid. He's a married man. So automatically the blame is on the other girl, not, oh shit, my husband's gone out and messaged another girl.
Women are meant to stick together and be a team.
Yeah, I understand it's your husband. Okay, maybe the whole girl code doesn't apply. I get it, but would you not just think, let me look within myself first?
If you've got screenshots.
She goes, don't send me anything. I don't want to see it. And I've got that. I want you to, put up. She goes, I don't want to see anything. Don't send it to me. I've got kids. Good luck to you all. And she basically ended it at that. He then puts a message on his Snapchat saying, when girls send you nudes, then blackmail you for 20k, Why would I want a rat like you when I've got a wife like mine? So the first thing was, well, clearly whoever you've got at home surely wasn't doing it for you, hence you went for this rat, right? Because that's what you described her as. Secondly, she didn't send him any nudes. And thirdly, there was no blackmail.
Yeah.
And another thing, which obviously he didn't use his brain for, if someone sends you their nudes, how can they be the one blackmailing you?
Yeah,
surely you should be in the power to blackmail, right? Or in the position to blackmail her. That goes out on Snapchat. She then put something on her Snapchat. It was the initial message from Amir Khan. I like your tattoos.
Okay.
That was how he got into a DM. Oh, I like the tats. Someone reached out to the son from Samira's Snapchat.
Yeah.
And basically said, this girl on Snapchat has basically said Amir Khan's messaging. Of course the son's going to be all over it. Amir Khan, another girl. They then reach out to Samira. And this was pre-me. I wasn't involved at this point. The son then get in touch with Samira and said, look, this is what's come out. What have you got to say about it, kind of thing. She then says her piece. She doesn't say everything. She says as much as she feels she needs to. Amir Khan, I think Amir Khan went first. He then went to Geo News. Now, the reason this is important, because he decided not to go to British tabloids. He decided to go to Geo News Pakistani papers. The reason he did that, because Samira had told him the majority of my family reside in Pakistan. And I know he did that purely to make her look like an idiot back home. Because he could have just gone to the Sun. He's got someone who works for him, who works for the Sun. But he went to Geo News only. And he said, this girl was messaging me. I was trying to tell her that tattoos are wrong in Islam. This is what it says on the Geo News. I was basically saying to her, your family not, angry at you because you got tattoos. Tattoos are haram in Islam. And
who is he to tell her? What's going on, guys? This video is sponsored by London Steel Services Limited, based in Hertfordshire on the A10. No job too small, no job too big. Anything to do with metal, these are your guys. Make sure you hit up London Steel Services Limited. All their information is on the screen right now. They offer crazy lead times, 24 to 48 hours on builders, beams and small fabrication jobs, flatbed and 45 to 90 foot crane high-ab deliveries. The jobs they get involved with are barn conversions, extensions, loft conversions, new builds. They can survey, design, supply and install steel, or simply just supply. Whatever you need, they're here to help.
I think that's the picture he wanted to paint. Then she was sending me nudes. I didn't even want them. And then she blackmailed me for 20k. And then when I looked over this and I compared it to the actual conversation that they both had, number one, he was sending her all the nudes, begging her for nudes, and she repeatedly said, no, no, no. There was no blackmail for 20k. And lastly, he said he liked
the tattoos, yeah.
Yeah, and he also sent a picture of his torso to her and put like a mark on it below his belly button and said, this is where I want my tattoo. So, if you want to put that up. So, I mean, and for the narrative to completely change, it's like, you either have a really, really shit team behind you, or you're genuinely really stupid. Because did you not think that she has this evidence? But then it brings it back to me, kind of confirming why I think he goes for girls which she doesn't think are all that clever. And I mean this with all due respect. I genuinely think he picks them because he thinks student into makeup, she probably won't know much. Because at that point, she hadn't even put none of their messages out. And then when I got in contact with her, I was like, why are you not putting it out? Because I don't know how to. What do I say? I mean, my videos are going viral, but then everyone's abusing me, calling me a home wrecker. Yeah, so I said, okay, let me put them out. I put them out. And then it changed a lot. A lot of people on social media, oh my God, not again. Amir Khan, not again. Oh my God, what's going on? Because the proof was there. It's so obvious that his whole Geo News thing was just, it was ridiculous. At that point, I was already speaking to solicitors and I said, let's just do a public. And I sent his solicitor all this proof. And that's when they came back and said, let's do an out-of-court settlement. Basically, we're going to pay Samira off and let's just call it a day. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I got involved for. I didn't get involved. Money. Yeah, I didn't get involved to get Samira a couple of grand. Like, all that for a couple of grand. I said, no, it needs to be a public apology, nothing more, nothing less. He needs to publicly apologise and said he lied about this girl. That's the whole point, I'm involved. They went quiet. I then obviously had the whole barrage of messages from Faryaal Maktoum's friends. One of her friends, who is the wife of Amir Khan's friend, I think he's got... his wife messages me. She starts off by saying, Salam, I hope you're well. I've seen you do a lot of good work. You've helped some really good causes, and I really don't think this cause is one of them. She then goes on to say, why are you going into something where dirty men are messaging these girls? Yes, Faryaal may be really stupid for, accepting it, but leave them to it. And then she goes, I would hate for my children to go on social media and find dirt about their dad. Mm-hmm. So for the sake of her and her children, please just let it be. And I think at this point, and I'm not being big-headed, but at this point the truth was out, and I think they had figured out, if I don't go any forward with it, then it'll fall at its feet. The fact that I'm pushing it on my platform, which is zero, but because I'm backing it up with facts, with evidence, the law behind it, and I've spoken to solicitors and I said, look, if we take this to court, it's game over. It's so simple. So I think her friends messaging me was all like, okay, let's try and get her on our side kind of thing. So it was her first wife reached out to me, but what she did, she sent it to me, and obviously with everything going on, you screenshot, right? I screenshotted it because I wanted to send it to my husband. Within like 5 minutes, she unsent the message. It's
a good thing you screenshotted it.
Yeah, thank God. I messaged her back. I don't know if she read it. No, sorry, she did read it. I basically said, look, if you're going to sit here and emotionally blackmail me about Amir Khan's kids, with all due respect, they're not my headache. They're his headache and his wife's headache. If they are so concerned about what their children are going to see about them online,
stop doing it.
Conduct yourself better. Not my problem. Conduct yourself better. And I go, as for the dirty men and these dirty girls, it's not about that. If it was just about two people messaging each other, it's none of my business. It's the aftermath. It's the fact that Amir Khan is going out, finding these women, talking to them, sleeping with the majority of them. Then he gets caught out, and then his wife jumps in, and then she blackmails them to keep their mouth shut, all because so they can maintain their social media facade of we're the Khans and we're a happily married couple, and that's the sole reason why she does it.
Do you reckon she knows?
Oh, of course she knows. Of course she knows.
Why do you think she accepts it?
I think it's the status, it's the money, it's what brings the whole being Amir Khan's wife.
Do you reckon she's doing the same?
I've heard she's doing the same. I've been sent a lot of messages that she messages guys which aren't Amir Khan. I haven't put them out on social media yet because I don't want a tit for tat.
Yeah.
I just don't want that. But I'm not sure if you go on Faryaal Makhdoom's social media, but she put out messages that her friends had with me, and in it, one of her friends reached out to me, ex-friends, and said, I have a friend and Faryaal Makhdoom has sent her nude picture to this guy. And I said, okay, this is just getting dirty. I don't want to know if they're in a
Everyone's just
open relationship.
Everyone's dirty laundry.
Literally, I was like, I'm not getting involved in this. She then puts that message on her social media and says, now she's even messaging my friends. And I said, well, actually, your friend messaged me, but, we're not going to do the tit for tat. So, yeah, apparently they are. I personally think, from an outside person's perspective, is they both have an open marriage, which is fine. It's completely up to them. But in order for them to monetize from them being a couple, they need to show that they are relevant and they're together.
Because maybe that is what it is. And listen, I'm not there to judge it. I personally would never be in an open relationship, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're genuinely having an open relationship.
Open marriage.
Where they're just both allowed to do what they want behind closed doors. Maybe they got rules, whatever it is. I don't know what's going on. That's their issue. But if you're going to get caught, then there's a way you act about it.
Exactly. Be dignified. Or I don't know how dignified you can be being caught.
Was quiet and didn't react to it and ignored it.
Yeah.
That's how I would have acted myself.
He didn't need to go on Snapchat. He didn't need to call her a hoe. Mm-hmm. He didn't then need to say, I've got a diamond at home, but my wife is asking me why I'm going to find these rocks outside. Well, clearly your diamond isn't shiny enough, right? There's something wrong with it. I mean, but again, their personal dynamic is their headache. But the fact that they are going out their way to defame these girls. Now, Samira, it's all over. It's online. She was thrown out by her family. Her dad's very traditional. He's very strict. And he was like, half of Pakistan's calling me saying my daughter's sending her news to Amir Khan. Yeah. She's like, Dad, I didn't do it. I then get a call 3 weeks in after the whole solicitors thing from her sister and said, Samira's taken an overdose. I was like, no, this is a prank. She goes, no, Samira's taken an overdose. And I was like, well, is she okay? She goes, yeah, no, she's fine, but this is affecting her. Can you please call the solicitors? And can you please tell them to we need to end this now. Mum and Dad won't let her back in. I can't keep her at my student place much longer because I think there's certain restrictions of how many people you can have staying in your student flat. She goes, I can't keep her anymore either. People are threatening her, people are calling her. She's put the recordings online as well. You know, you're playing with fire. And I was like, okay, this is getting messy.
I said, you're playing with fire. You're just playing with fire, you know what.
And I said, okay, well, you know, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I reached out. Yeah, it's there now. I reached out to her solicitors and I go, look, this is taking a turn for the worst. Her mental health is out the window. I go, let's just cut everything now. Please ask Amir Khan to at least make a statement to the public and say, I don't condone violence. Whichever one of my fans are messaging this girl, stop doing it. Mm-hmm. Whoever's calling her, stop doing it. So maybe that takes the heat off things a bit. Because they're both... I wouldn't say Samira's to blame. I wouldn't. She responded to a guy that messaged her. She's single. She has no strings.
Like I said as well, previously before we spoke, if I want to message a married woman...
Yeah.
And I don't know who the man is, that's up to me. That's the same thing as her. If she wants to reply back to a married man, she don't have no loyalty to Faryaal.
No.
That's one thing I want to make clear. It's not like it's her mate and he's got a message and you're like, oh, why have you replied back to this? He's messaged her. She's responded.
Exactly. And it should just be left at that. But it didn't. It just got blown out of proportion. Solicitors ignored me, obviously. Then things start to get a bit messy. Obviously, the hate I was getting on social media was awful. I didn't expect it because I've never been a social media person.
You're getting hate for.
Oh, you're sticking up for a slag. You just want clout. Oh, how much money are they going to give you? And I was like, listen, I don't need money, and I definitely don't need Amir Khan's money. You know, I have a life and a business outside of this, and a few followers is not going to add to that. But they were relentless. They were awful. I hope you crash into a wall and die.
That's social media
maybe
for you.
This is just social media. So I was like, okay, let's just not take it seriously. Let's just block everyone.
Yeah.
That's how you see it. It then got quite serious. I got a phone call on private number. I was in West London with my business partner. We just got our lab made, our skincare lab. I was
Congrats.
so nice. Thank you. So we just got it done. I was there. We were just sorting out stock, and I get a private number call. I got 4 private number calls, and I missed all of them. I was like, oh, it's just long. I'm not going to answer. I don't know what made me answer it, so I answered it. It was a guy with a Bolton accent. Well, I say North, Midlands accent. You're playing with fire. You need to drop the case. I was like, what case? I'm not on no case. He's like, you're playing with fire. Why are you sticking up for a hoe? He goes, I don't understand what you want from this. And I go, listen, if you're Amir Khan's friend and you're calling me, why don't you call me on non-caller ID? And then my husband's standing there. He's like, just shut up. Like, why are you entertaining? And I go, no, because if you're calling my phone and if you're going to threaten me properly. Call me off your normal number if we're going to take this far. He goes, you're busy during the day, aren't you? And then it just turns a bit sinister, doesn't it? And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, your kids go to a nice private school. And I was like, oh my God. And then your heart drops. And then all of a sudden, me being all hard on the phone, it just drops. It's my kids now. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is serious because...
This ain't no joke. They're threatening my kids' lives.
Yeah, like if... And I don't mean this to be whatever, but if my kids went to a state school, it'd be very easy to locate them. They would just see what the nearest school to my house was. But the fact that I have to drive out to go and drop my kids to school because they go to a private school, someone had to have followed me. Because they would have... Or research, but how would that even be...
They've had to follow you, or yeah.
Because, not even all my family knows where they go. I'd never, ever have put my kids on social media, ever. They just do not exist. And a lot of people say, oh my God, you've got kids. And I was like, yeah, I've got 2. So that scared me. I was like, okay. And then I just went quiet. My business partner was like, say something. And I was like, I don't know what to say.
Shitting myself.
Literally shitting myself. I was like, then I'm trying to think. And while you're on the phone, and it feels like I was thinking for so long, but it was a couple of seconds. I was like, right, when did they follow me? Who was I in the car with? When was I driving back? Then they were like, oh, and what, you want Amir Khan to buy you a better car than the one you're driving? And I was like, oh my God. So they've literally followed me. And I literally put the phone down. I was like, okay, I'm scared now. Put the phone down. My husband didn't get the last bit. He had gone out the room. He came back and goes, what's going on? And I was like, they know where the girls go to school. He goes, no, come off it. He's in Dubai. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's Amir Khan just getting caught having sex with someone. It's not the end of the world.
It is what it is. You shagged the bird. Get over
it. He goes, nah. He goes, no, they said as a dad, I think that just ticked him over the edge. He was like, okay, he goes, come off social media. I'm going to be honest. He was like, okay, this is fucking gone too far. Come off social media, forget it. Like, leave her to it. And I was like, okay. We're driving home that day, it was silence. He was like, you've never put the kids on social media. You work so hard. I work hard. And no, I'm not going to take it. If they know where the kids are going, I'm at work. I can't escort you to school every day. Yeah. It's you and the girls. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't know what to say because I was like, oh my God, it's my husband, right? Maybe I have bitten off too much than I can chew. Maybe it's bigger than what I thought it was. I just thought, okay, I'll get this girl justice. I'll get the other girls justice. And someone like Amir Khan won't be able to go forward abusing the power he's in. Because that's what I think he's doing. I think he uses his status, his power, his money to get a kick in his sex drive. Or I don't know, get a kick from his sexual life or whatever he does. But there's other ways to do it. No, if you've got money, can you not just go to a brothel and just make it a little less obvious?
What's going on, guys? This video is being brought to you by Maurice Andrews Solicitors. As you're all aware, we've done a season 2 all about crime. If you watch that all and you're in any situation like that and need help getting out of this situation, reach out to Maurice Andrews Solicitors and see if there's something they can help you with.
Remember, there's a defense for every offense.
But you're not getting exposed and getting caught out.
You're not getting all that headache. And then I didn't say nothing. We got home. He was annoyed. He went to the gym, went to bed. And then I was like, oh, God. And then the next day, Samira was like, okay, we need to put the rest of the stuff on social media. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can. Like, it's really awkward now. My kids are involved. The same person called back. And he goes, your husband leaves really early in the morning. And I was like, oh, my God, my whole heart went. So I called my husband and he said to me, call 999. And I was like, okay. And then I've got the girls downstairs. Then I'm thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to do? God forbid. You think all these things. I watch all this stuff on TV.
You watch TV movie shows and you think everything can happen.
And I'm thinking, right, it's only me, my girls and my housekeeper. What am I going to do? She, bless her, can barely speak English. What am I going to do with it all? So I was like, okay. So I said to her, right, you've got the girls. If anything happens, she goes, oh, what's going on? What's going on? So she's panicking differently. I go, look, leave the laundry. If anything, I just want you to look after the girls upstairs. And she was like, oh, is everything okay? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm at that point absolutely bricking it. I suffer from really bad anxiety. And then my husband called me back. He goes, are you okay? Are you breathing? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. I was like, my anxiety is really bad. My anxiety got to such a bad level a couple of years ago. I started having seizures because of my anxiety. I just couldn't control it. So and that's what I think he was worried about. He was like, okay, where are the kids? And I go, okay, they're with her. It's fine. The police turned up and I was like, this is my CCTV. Take the whole thing. Someone's watching my house. They know where my husband left. And they were like, okay, do you know who it could be? And the only name I had was Amir Khan. I don't have no other name. I mean, I can't give the ghost account names, right? And then the officer was Asian. He was like, Amir Khan, the boxer.
They're probably thinking, what
isn't
is
he
wrong
in
with
Dubai? And I was like, well, yeah, but who else knows my address? And the only person I could think had my address was his solicitor because it was on the paperwork. Yeah. They take the CCTV. Thankfully, they did everything really quickly, and they said we've traced the number plate back to Bolton. And literally, me and my husband were like, "This is just completely out
Getting a bit
of.
much,
What is it? What's happening? Seriously? I mean, what are you scared about?" And then it all brings it down to it's the image. It's his image. I call this listers. I go, now it's getting stupid. I go, you need to tell your client.
I'm not being funny though.
Come on.
You've texted a girl, you sent a few nudes, it ain't that fucking deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in this day and age now, especially we're in
things that happen,
we're in 2023. Everybody is sending. Instagram is full of nudes. It really isn't that deep.
But it makes you think, right? It made me think. I thought, okay, maybe it's much worse and much more sinister than I thought it was. I just thought I was getting a girl a bit of justice. Like, I didn't think someone's going to start following me. Yeah. Like, I really didn't expect that. And
threatening your kids' lives at the end of the day.
They were like, yeah, nice school. And I was like...
Phoning up and saying what school your kids go to me, that's a threat to my kids.
It is. And that's how I took it. I overthink everything. And that's how I took it.
If someone phones me up and goes, I know where your mum lives, to me, you're going to hurt my mum. That's how I take it.
Right, you do, right?
I'm not going to take it as, oh, they're giving me a warning. To me, it's shit just got real.
Exactly. I called the school. The girls had broken up by then anyway. And I said, okay, the girls are not here, but they've got a couple of, clubs, whatever. I need to make sure no one can come in them gates. And they don't anyway. It's all private. Yeah. So you have to the
Buzzing
people stand
or
aside,
whatever.
they all know. And it was like, oh, what's going on? And I was like, oh, it's all a bit crazy, but I just need to make sure they're safe. You need to call me. And that obviously, it makes them worried. It makes me extra worried. And then I had my mum calling me and she was like, you need to drop this. What is this? I've seen on social media and, you know, your sister's really upset for you. Then my uncle called. He called my husband. He didn't call me directly. He goes, why don't you lot come over for a barbecue? And I was like, oh, for God's sake, now
That means
we're
I'm in
gonna
trouble.
get So when he goes, what are you doing? He goes, well, you think some big shot lawyer? And I was like, no. He goes, so why are you sticking up for her? Like, who asked her to reply to him? I was like, oh, it's different. You won't understand. I can't sit next to my uncle and be like, well, this, you know, it's different. It's weird. So I was like to my husband, you better talk him out of it and just say we're going ahead with it. And he said, look, once I spoke to your uncle and I actually told him what's happening, he was like, do you know what? That's wrong. Because whether Amir Khan likes it or not, he is a role model for young Asian boys. It sounds crazy me saying it from what I know, but he is.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day I supported him. He did
So did
amazing
I.
for us.
Genuinely, when I was younger,
for
I
our
used to
country, for Pakistanis, he did really good.
I used to look at him and think, he's a sick boxer. Like,
Yeah.
he's smashing it.
Exactly, and that's why I thought, okay, he's amazing. You know, my brother looked up to him. You know, all my nephews are like, oh, it's Amir Khan, it's his fight, whatever. But then the reality is something different. And if he kept everything enclosed, it wouldn't be that bad. But for the fact that his friend circle is aware that he's cheating on his wife, and they are...
In his defence, only thing I do want to say is,
Yeah.
it may not be cheating.
Oh, they may all be... It may be consensual.
It
Okay,
may
fine.
be an
Okay,
open
maybe.
thing, because for her to straight away say, don't go to the media with this, it means she accepts it.
Of course.
So it is cheating in the eyes of all of us.
Yeah.
And especially they're saying they're in a loyal relationship. They're not publicly said we're in an open relationship, but it could just be that they both do their thing. I don't know. It's me speaking factual.
Well, it must be. You're right, because that's the only thing you can think of.
Straight away, if someone sends me something saying, I've got this of your girlfriend, I'm going to say, what have you got? Tell me. Like, please, I want to know.
Yeah.
You're not going to say, don't send me nothing, piss off. And especially if proof has come out and they're both defending each other on socials. I saw she posted something saying something about her husband. I'm getting messages and something like that.
Oh, so she made a public statement. That's what I was going to go
Okay,
on to.
yeah.
So after this whole solicitor thing, I said, it's getting serious now. We're going to need to whatever. I spoke to my husband. I said, look, I can't jump into something, then jump out of it. I need to see it through. And I said... It was a weird conversation, but I said, look, I don't think if you tell me to stop, I'm going to stop now, because I want to see it through, because then I look like the idiot.
And
I've taken this on because I believe in it and I want justice for them. It's wrong.
100%. And the fact that they threaten your kids,
Yeah,
in
now-
my eyes, it's,
yeah.
I'm not stopping until this is over.
Yeah, because
End
I
of.
think at that point it made it very personal. It was no
They're
longer...
coming for you, they're
Yeah,
not coming for Samira.
Exactly, and all of a sudden Samira just disappeared out the picture. Now it's, oh my God, this Faryaal out to get Amir Khan. Then they again didn't make life any easier. Amir Khan then puts a video up, which I've got. It's like a 30-second video. He first pans the mosque in Dubai. Then he goes, oh, I just want to come on live and say one thing. There's this, I'm not going to say her name, but this so-called lawyer, or if she is a lawyer, if she's a fake lawyer, I'd want her to leave me alone. She's saying I'm blackmailing these women. I'm a British citizen, and if I blackmail someone, tell her to go to the police. Why does she have to go and tell the whole world for? I'm not going to give you what you want. It's really sad to see a British Asian woman speaking like this. I was like, okay, so you want to go back to playing games? Fine. I did the same thing. I made a video, but this time I addressed him. I go, you're saying you're disappointed in me. I go, but how are you not disappointing? You're a British Asian Muslim man who thinks it's okay to distribute your nudes on the internet and then blackmail a girl, all because you thought you were going to be outed. You lied about her. That's wrong. And you're getting people to threaten me. And that's acceptable.
In the blackmail sense, what did he say to her?
So one of the other, so Faryaal Maktoum did.
What did she say to her?
If you, what was it? If you don't leave Amir Khan alone, I'm going to slit your fucking throat. I'm going to put your bank details online. On social media, I'm going to out you
And
on
you've
social
seen
media.
proof of this?
I've got everything.
Wow.
I've got a recorded conversation from Faryaal Maktoum, who then her solicitors accepted it was her, but said I had covertly edited it.
Disabled daughter. No wonder you have a disabled daughter. You little bitch, when I post this shit on social media, you ever contact me again, I will slit your fucking throat. Bitch, you should be scared of me. Bitch, it's Asian, alright? And girls like you look up to me. And you sleep with married men, bitch. Why the fuck is his friend about transferring money into your account? If those aren't your account details, I'm allowed to post it on social media, yeah? You sound like a fucking idiot, bitch. You sound like an idiot. Because you're married to a fucking okay? Now go hang up. Fuck off now. Dumb bitch.
And police-wise, is this not arrestable?
It is, but they're in the UAE.
So if we go to the police and, well, not we, but if you go to the police and tell the police...
The girls have already opened active cases with the police.
So when they do land in the UK,
Yeah.
by rights, they should be arrested, huh?
They should be. The difficulty with one of the girls is who was threatened, where Faryaal Maktoum threatened to kill her, threatened to out her bank details online. They went much further than that. They sent people to her house. So Amir Khan knows someone in that area. I'm not going to say what area. And that's it. And that's what I've been going blue in the face with. Public apology, and this
But
all
to
can come to an
some
end.
people, a public apology is a lot more expensive than sending someone some money.
Sure, but then
Because
you should think about all these things.
Amir
before.
Khan's got money. We know to him 100 grand isn't chump change. He can throw that at someone, no problem at all.
Yeah, that's what he said, 100k. Or 50, no, he goes 50k.
So
100k. And I was like,
for someone like Amir Khan to publicly say, yeah, I fucked up, I done it X, Y, and Z, that's basically calling him, saying everything I said was a lie, like himself. It was a lie, and it's straight away, that is going to cost him more than 50 grand.
yeah, I suppose. But then he should have thought about that before conducting himself the way he did. I ignored that and I said, look, go do what you need to do. We're just going to end it here. Then the next day, Faryaal Maktoum makes a public statement. The majority of the statement was obviously calling me out, fake woman's advocate, or so-called threatening me, blackmailing me. And then the majority of it was rubbish. It was like, why should I, I've gone through so much with my husband, blah, 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 and now my kids' lives are in danger. And I was like,
Her kids' lives, not
yeah.
your kids' lives, yeah?
Yeah, not mine, but hers in Dubai, living in a private police
The
area.
safest country in the world.
Exactly, but your kids' lives are in danger. Okay. She then made another statement and said, you're reaching out to my friends and family, and I'm going to let the police know and my lawyers, which she rightfully did. Her lawyers got in touch and they said, we're taking you to court for harassment, for defamation, for libel, for loss of income, for damages to character, and for raising anxiety of her children. I was like, okay, you're either stupid or you cannot read that the evidence I've sent you of what your clients have caused for me, you've just ignored that. So if you think now I'm going to reply to your letter, forget it. So I didn't reply. They said I had 7 days to reply. If I didn't, they would, without notice, go to court. 12 days went by, nothing. I knew it was just an empty threat. They sent me another email because I put on social media, I go 12 days later, nothing. Stick by your word.
Yeah,
I stuck by my word and I've sent you a court petition.
Yeah.
Stick by your word and take me to court. I then, the next day, get an email from her solicitor saying, we didn't hear back from you, so now we're giving you to the 30th of August. I was like, oh, God. She then called me, another solicitor,
Okay.
Faryaal Maktoum's solicitor, and said, yeah, we've emailed you. And I was like, yeah. And I go, I've already spoken to the other solicitor. She goes, and I said, yeah. And I go, I've told him where I stand. You're not going to get a reply from me. And she goes, there's very serious allegations. I suggest you get legal advice. And I go, I've got legal advice. Send me evidence of everything you've stated in that letter, and I'll reply to you. But until then, I'm not replying. And then she just she just went, okay then. I was like, okay, well, have a lovely day, bye. And we just left it at that. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but even if they do,
And when was that?
I've got nothing to worry about.
So
2 days ago.
30th of August is... We're currently filming on the 25th of August.
So I should be in prison by the 30th, apparently.
Okay.
So that's what happened. I don't know. It's just one of them situations which I didn't want to be in, and I generally didn't, because I heard about it first before it came to my attention. I was, oh, here he is, here, him again, and you don't think nothing more of it. But I think it just comes back to what I do for a living. I give voice to those that don't have their own voice. And obviously people in much more dire situations than this. Women who are on the brink of losing everything. They've had their children taken off them. They've been beaten up. They're literally in hospital. Last week I went to a woman who, her husband literally did a cosmetic procedure on her face, but with his fist. She was unrecognisable. It was awful. And I was like, oh my God. She goes, I should have listened to you. I should have called the police.
And does this not upset you a little bit? Not upset you, but infuriate you in the sense that you've got real clients with real shit going on in their life. Like you've just said, that woman was beaten. That's a serious. That's real. We don't give a fuck about who Amir Khan's shagging or X, Y, and Z. And of course, what he's done to this woman, Samira, has affected her life because her family have disowned her.
Yeah.
And I understand that is wrong in itself, what he's done. But being a partner, beating someone, hurting and making them unrecognisable, to me, that's a real case.
It's real.
To me, that's a real life matter, and we should be dealing with that, not who he wants to message and stuff. And don't that upset you where your Instagram is being bombarded
with Amir Khan rubbish.
Yeah.
And then people say to me, well, you should be happy because you've got followers. I don't want followers. That's the thing. And you know what? You can't explain this to people who live in the social media world. For them, it's all about, oh my God, my followers are going up. Yeah. What am I getting from them followers? But for me, it's just a number. You know, my followers have never made me money. I don't expect them to going forward. And at the time when this whole Amir Khan thing was going on, I've had a case for nearly a year now about there was a gas explosion in Croydon last year. Negligence from a gas company. Practically the street blew up. However, 3 houses completely came to the ground and only one person died. It was a 4-year-old girl, Sahara Salman. She passed away. The wall collapsed on her while she was sleeping. Common sense, you're there because there's an issue. They left on the 5th of August quoting, the area is safe. You have nothing to worry about. Everything is fine. They then left and then 7 a.m. on the 8th of August, 2 days after they completed their works, multiple explosions. Not minor explosions, explosions to the fact that buildings completely collapsed to the floor. And I think that's one of the worst cases I've done. Even speaking about it now makes me feel, it's awful. As a mum,
of course,
the way I've, dealt with the case came to me from a civil case. She called me and said, my ex-husband, who is a twat, he used her for a passport. His daughter passed away. He went and did a fraudulent insurance claim for £8,000 and kept it. And this is 3 days after his daughter's passed away and a week after he flew out to Turkey. She called me and she goes, I need help with my finances. I need help with court. And I said, what's happened? And she told me the story and I said, so your daughter got killed due to a gas explosion? She goes, yeah, it was negligent. I called them 9 days before and told them I can smell gas. They came, they fixed the gas and they left. 24 hours later, my house blew up and it killed my daughter. And I said, oh my God, no. And I said, what are we doing about it? And she goes, I don't know what to do. I'm not a social media person. And that's when I first came onto social media properly because I wanted to get attention for Sahara. I went on Islam channel, they helped out. I did an interview with BBC. So that was all going on at the same time. We had a rally the same week this whole Amir Khan thing was going on. And then, I don't know, it puts you in a weird situation because then people were messaging me saying, oh, you're only sharing Sahara's story now because you want clout. And I said, but a grieving mother is not, what is she going to benefit from a few hundred people watching my story? I'll go, if you really want to help, come to the rally. Yeah. The rally is at the end of the week, come to the rally. So I had all that going on and then I'm thinking to myself, this whole Amir Khan thing is not even a scratch on it. And I think that's what infuriates me because people have been given this perception that I've jumped on the Amir Khan bandwagon for clout. And if I could turn back the time, I would. I wouldn't say I wouldn't take on it, but I don't think I would have got that involved.
You wouldn't have got as public with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I would have still helped her because I think it's a rightful cause and
that's why you do it. You don't do this for money. You do it because it's a passion. You want to help someone and she needs help.
She does need help and I'm not here to judge her reasons as to why she replied or didn't reply. But as long as I can see the truth in front of me that I did, that was enough for me to say, okay, you need a voice. Yeah. Same with the other girl. She is a young mum of 2. For whatever reason, she had a relationship with Amir Khan. That's not for me to judge. But now she's had people come. She's got special schemes on her address by the police.
Wow.
Because people have actually gone to her address.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
Faryaal has, publicly distributed her pictures out on the internet. Literally on Snapchat. Does anyone know this girl? Come on, you've got 1 million followers. What are you trying to cause? So these women are coming to me and say, look, I can't go out. Can you please help me? I've done a police statement for her. I'm trying to do what I can and I'm not being paid for it. Not to say that's a driving factor, but if it was, then, I don't know, it shows that I want to do it for money, but I'm not here for the money. I have my money. I'm doing it so I can just try and get justice for anyone that needs it.
No, listen,
and that's kind of my driving factor.
I can see that from the minute we discussed having you on the pod. It was never about, I want to expose Amir Khan or I want to do this. It's more about why I'm doing what I'm doing is to protect Samira and obviously all the other situations.
Going forward.
Of course, all the other situations that have happened. And one thing I want to make evidently clear to the viewers here, because I don't want them to think that we're on here just cussing Amir Khan, because I got no issue with the guy. Good luck to him. Like, whatever he's doing in his life, I couldn't care less. This is not a podcast about what Amir Khan's done wrong by messaging a girl. Mm-hmm. I don't care about that. Mm-hmm. It's about how you've acted after you've been caught.
Yes.
And calling a girl a hoe, saying she's a liar, saying she tried to blackmail you for 20 grand, that actually makes no sense. Because if she sent you nudes, her asking you for 20 grand after she sent you nudes makes no sense. So that in itself is admitting...
Well, diabolical. And I think the reason he went to Pakistani newspapers, because, sorry, Pakistan's not going to ask you for evidence either.
And it's
because if you went to a British tabloid, they would say, okay, she sent you nudes.
We need it all.
Of course.
We need everything.
But he has refused to go to British tabloids because he knows he's got no evidence.
So, to wrap it up, what happens now? What do you actually think is going to happen? Obviously, they've given you till the 30th.
So there's 2 cases now, 3. They've given me to the 30th to respond to them in regards to, and they say, you know, if you want to give us a resolve beforehand, in other words, apologise. I'm not going to do it. I've done nothing wrong. You know, it's for them to think what they've done. And as Amir Khan said, why am I not going to the police? Why am I not going to authorities? I've done that. You know, I've gone to everywhere where I could. I went to the BBC and I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to boycott you if you continue to, you know, put their show on. It's wrong. They're painting one picture on the show, but in reality this is what they're doing. They're calling other people's children disabled, mocking them for their looks and saying, well, you don't have money, you're a chav, you're this. This is not what they portray to be online. And I think that's what I find sickening in the whole thing. So what I want out of it is, again, I'll make another public appeal. If you want to come forward and you and resolve things can just end here. But I don't think they do. I think for them it's, we've got more money, we've got more power, and we'll get over it. Come on, a week after Amir Khan, someone in the papers went out and said, I've been having a 4-month affair with Amir Khan. The last time I slept with him was 2 days after his sister's wedding. And she showed the papers the proof and they put it out. He buys Faryaal Maktoum a G-Wagon and invests £100,000 into her business. And it makes me think, it's not me saying you're doing it for money, but you're putting an image out to young girls who follow you, because as you heard in the voice note, she says, I'm the biggest Asian, girls like you look up to me. So if girls are looking up to you, what you're teaching them is, let your husband or boyfriend cheat on you. It doesn't matter, as long as he buys you a nice car and gives you a bit of money, you just take him back. And that's my point. You're a wrong influence to young girls. He's a wrong influence to young guys. And that's what I'm doing it for. And to go forward, if he continues doing what he's doing, good on him. But as long as he doesn't defame another girl.
How do you think this ends?
Public apology. That's where it needs to start.
Do you reckon he will give one?
No, of course not. He's got too much to lose. But I think what he feels he has to lose, I personally, from what I've got and the kind of information that's been shared to me by authorities and other publications, is that's on its way. I mean, she herself in her letter admitted, I've lost media opportunities because of you. And it's kind of...
Because I think if Amir Khan and his wife is watching this, they know what evidence you have.
Yeah, every single bit.
I've seen the evidence to vouch for it. I have seen it. I've seen it all. I'm not going to go into what I have seen. But if what you have on your phone gets released, it will ruin someone's career completely.
They will be destroyed. And I think they should sit back and think why I haven't gone to the paper with every single thing.
I think a public apology for what has been done
is the very least you can do.
It's even if he just does a story, posts it on a story and says, like, listen...
They did actually. I'm really sorry. This is quite important.
Oh, so they have apologised?
You're going to laugh. So Faryaal Maktoum's friend reached out to me on Instagram and said, sister, you know, the typical thing. Sister, I've seen your live and I think you're very wrong. You don't know how Faryaal Maktoum has acted with Amir Khan and what she's done. And I go, it's none of my business, I don't care. And she goes, she didn't call her child disabled, she called her child ill. And I said, listen, I've got the voice recording. She called her child disabled. It's wrong. She mocked her. And she goes, Faryaal Maktoum is asking, what do you want from this? How can we settle this? And I'm happy for this to go on the screen. How can we settle this? I said, a public apology. She then disappears off Instagram for about 10 minutes, comes back, and in that while I see a post go up by Amir Khan. They both blocked me, but I saw off another account. He puts up a picture of him and Faryaal Maktoum with a picture of Samira in the far right corner. But what he's done is he's changed Samira's picture face to a troll. I know, and I'll show you. I know, and he's written on there, I want to make an apology and say, sorry, I went to the Sun, everything's my fault, but I want to give a special sorry to my wife, Faryaal Maktoum. I was like, you're actually taking the piss.
That's just mocking it now.
So her friend messaged me, she goes, you've got your apology now. And I literally say, you're taking the piss. I go, you've manipulated her face and turned her into a troll, and you're apologising. I go, that does not count as a public apology. And then she even said in that message, I can assure you, Faryaal Maktoum had nothing to do with the Geo News. So it just shows they're both on separate pages trying to salvage their reputation. But what they're not realising, in the quest for them to do that, they're ruining real lives.
100%.
Real reputations, and it's affecting people.
Well, I do look forward to see how it unfolds, because it's... I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, because at the end of the day, it's... I'll keep going back to it as a man. If you are in an open relationship, or you do want to cheat, if you want to cheat, let's just say you want to cheat, yeah? Do it. Do it in your own time. Do whatever you want to do. It's wrong, but if maybe they're in an open relationship, I don't know. But if you're going to get caught, why are you abusing a girl for?
Exactly. Look into your own.
Just, if that was me, I'd come off of socials for a few weeks. It would die down and get over it.
I think it's the reality they don't
Go
like.
in and attacking her, calling her a whore, saying she's a rat. Do people not expect a backlash nowadays? With the power of social media, it's one click and you can ruin someone's career. What about Samira? Does no one think of her? She's now been kicked out. I spoke to her on the phone the other day.
Yeah,
I'm not sure she told you.
she said, yeah.
And the girl's broken. She's
what
broken
shall
to
I
pieces.
do?
She's been kicked out by her mum and dad. They're not speaking to her. The first question I asked her is, "Are you okay?" She goes, "No, I'm not." She's not okay, and that's a result of not her own actions. What's she done? She's replied back to a message.
Yeah, no one asked him to message her, right?
If she's messaged first, fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say, why are you messaging a man? She's got a message off a man. She might find him attractive. She might reply back on a friendly manner, which was what she done.
Yeah.
And now to be kicked out of home, to have dramas with family, and in the Asian community, when you go and slander someone's name like they've done on Geo News, or
All over AOI Digital,
that's
Geo News. It's
her family,
horrendous.
to the Asian community, even to me as a Turkish guy, like that ruins households.
Of course.
Like, even if it's not true, even if now it comes out and it says it's not true, there's still the older generation who don't watch the news but just hear it and say, oh yeah, Samira done this, or Samira...
Yeah, it's how it is, isn't it? I remember when we were little, we were never allowed to walk past or hang around in the McDonald's car park after school. It always has to be, you have to walk straight home. Yeah. I think once I must have just stopped there with my friends, and my uncle was like, why were you in McDonald's car park? I was like, well, they went in to get a burger. He goes, but I told you specifically not to be seen there because of what other people may think, because what happens then. It's the same with this. Although she didn't do it, she's now being looked at as...
a wrong one.
Yeah, and it's really horrible. And I think both of them, to add, they have this really narcissist trait. Like Faryaal Maktoum, the only one time she reached out to me publicly was because this is literally, she goes, because of you, I've had to reduce my children's screen time. I replied to her and I said, number one, your children shouldn't be on TikTok, firstly. Yeah. And number two, it's not that it's been limited due to me, it's because their dad can't keep his trousers on. And then she put the message up and she goes, you're disrespectful and disgusting. I go, but it's the truth. If your daughters are going to go on TikTok and see my dad slept with XYZ, how is that my fault? It's his fault. He should think, I've got daughters tomorrow, they're going to grow up and they're going to see all this online. Why is it anyone else's fault? You should salvage your own respect as opposed to expecting someone else to salvage it. And that's what my inboxes are filled with. Have some respect for her. Have some sympathy for her children. Why is it my responsibility?
Well, look, I think let's just see how it unfolds. You're not stupid. You're clued up. You know what you're doing. You know the law. More than them, they pay people to know the law. You know the law.
Which is the saddest thing, because sometimes I think to myself, the solicitors and whoever's messaging me, do they even know what's going on? But I don't think they even intend to take this to court, if I'm all honest. I think it's just a scare tactic. It's just pressure.
Well, they would have taken it to court already if they
could have. It was the 8th of August they had to get back. I had to get back to them. So, take it full away. I mean, be a man of your words or a woman of your words. Take it forward.
Let's see how it unfolds. I don't know what else to say. I've seen the evidence myself, and there's going to be clips going throughout the episode. And one thing I just want to touch on for the viewers, my platform isn't on here to slander anyone's name. I'm not here talking with yourself to try and belittle his name. We're talking from facts, and we have proof. I wouldn't have let you come on the show if you just said, I've got it. That's why I asked you straight away, is there evidence? You showed me it, I've seen it. And that's why you're here today, because at the end of the day, we've seen the proof. I don't want anyone to think, oh, you're just going along with the story. I've seen it. You've all seen it. There's been pictures on the screen here, so nothing's been made up. Nothing's been altered.
And I think to add, the main reason, you know, I wanted to come on was I'm not here for clout.
Definitely.
And I'm not here because I want a bit of my name in Amir Khan's tragic marriage. That's not what I want it for. This is what I do. This is my job. It knocked on my door and I took it because there was truth in it.
And you can't turn down a case because you're scared of a bit of publicity.
Well, no, of course not. And for a fact, it wasn't even a paid case for starters. But if this knocks on my door again, would I take it? Yeah, I probably would. But maybe I'd,
Go away. Keep it a little more low-key.
Yeah, keep it a bit more low-key. But yeah, I'm not... Amir Khan doesn't define me.
No,
I have a life
not.
outside of this. However, this is something that's come to me and I will see it through to the end. Because that's what I do.
Look,
I see things through.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a serious thing. It's a big case. It's only big though because this is a baby case for yourself, to be fair.
Well, with the other cases I'm dealing with, especially
100%.
with Sahara's case, the gas explosion.
This is
that's
nothing. This is just
manslaughter.
This is
to
little drama.
sexting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
sexting doesn't.
it's the level of fame they're at.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this world's all about now. It's about who's got the most followers on Instagram.
Yeah, sadly.
And it's going to be hopefully a short journey. Hopefully it's finished soon. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I appreciate you coming down and I wish you best of luck with it because it's probably a bit of drama that you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's over, I look forward to seeing the result. And once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. And if you want to keep up to date with the drama, I suppose, go and follow. You don't want the followers, but go and follow her. Go and watch it all and let me know what you lot think. See you soon.